Hi, I'm Brendan O'Mahony from Broma Engineering, and today we're going to talk about roles and responsibilities and RACI matrices. Difficult topic, hard to get it right, hard to get it finished, but I'll just go through what we know and how we approach this, and we'll start with the easiest way, which is the client are established, the hyperscalers, they all are, and they give you a RACI. What's a RACI? It's responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. I don't really like this, to be honest. I think there's only one thing that's important: who's responsible. The rest, fine, you can sort it out after. You can write it down, but I wouldn't be getting hung up on these. This is what's important at the beginning: who is responsible for the action. And what's also important is that your column of, these are your activities, column on your left side, and there's an or against, it's either the vendor, the person who's supplying the gear, the general contractor, the CXA, the commissioning authority, the GC, the electrical contractor, the mechanical contractor. You have the controls contractor, BMS or EPMS, but let's not make it too complicated for today. So we'll just focus on the general idea of what this is trying to achieve. Okay, so the actions here, the activities, I think you need to break it down to whatever's practical. We generally have about 60 activities. Is it enough? The activities also need to be clearly defined, and they need to make sense in English. Don't be trying to shorthand how they're done. Use, as I always say, paper is free. Write out a proper description. If it's an Excel file, you don't have to bring that column right across. Anyone who needs to click into it can click into it. You know yourself, there's horses for courses here. These RACIs can go on for months or years if there's no agreement. So I'd be very careful trying to fix or develop one as a GC. Really, this is what you want to be looking for at the beginning of the contract, at the initiation. You say to the client, we need a RACI from you and we will price against that. This goes for everyone involved here. This is the way it's supposed to be. It's a client deliverable, and everyone works to what the client is used to and what expects from all their stakeholders. So because this is very important, and this is basically a massive stumbling block on projects, and it doesn't have to be a RACI, just everyone needs to know what their activity is and who's responsible, who's getting paid at the end of the day, and who's drawing down from the budget for doing an activity. So this can get very, very complicated and very philosophical, but we need to keep it simple. So if you're trying to develop one of these, it's not an easy task. There's going to be a lot of pushback to who's doing what needs to be done, what falls under what scope. So you will have usually we have a piece of equipment, say it's a generator, it could be LV switchgear, it could be a chiller, it could be an AHU, and then like we have the factory witness test. I could have a factory acceptance test, but that's not enough. You need to define what part of the factory witness test, so that this will be a couple of activities. So who's planning the factory witness test? I would say could be the vendor, usually. Who's attending, who's actually doing it on site, who's writing the report, who's filling out the check sheets. It can go on and on and on and on. So just be very careful of that. But the point of this whole video is to say that we will focus more on roles and responsibilities on our upcoming videos, because it really is where projects get delayed, where there's scope gaps, or scope is not clearly defined, vendors haven't priced correctly, contractors haven't priced correctly, especially here. Vendor disputes against the mechanical contractor, BMS, electrical contractor. This is usually, and the GC is managing all this, of course, usually. The client as well is obviously some portion in managing their OFCI vendors. So it's owner, furnished, contractor, installed. So the client purchased equipment. It needs to be very clearly defined by the client, really. you have to push if you're a general contractor or any major stakeholder like the electrical contractor or mechanical contractor. You have to really push that you're given a RACI to price against. Otherwise, it's going to be a nightmare. Okay, so we have developed RACIs in the past. It's something that gets very difficult at times if people don't have clear outcomes in mind. So we are steering away from this work really. But we have developed them in the past and we have them set up, so we're ready to go. It's not really building the RACIs the hard part, it's getting people to agree to the final product. So that caused a lot of scope creep, so we're not really doing that kind of work anymore. We can do it at a pinch if it's needed, if we need to do a dig out, but again, it's not for us to decide the RACI. We can just advise and develop the structure. Somebody in charge of the project needs to make those final calls. But if you want to help with it, we're here. We know a lot about it. We know the stumbling blocks. We know how much detail needs to be in the RACI. And we have templates which take a long time to build, set up, ready to go. So go to bromaengineering.com or contact us by email and we can help you with this if needed.